Do you know which revolution limited the power of kings forever? In this video, we are going to discuss some points about the revolution of England, Russia, and France. Students, stay with WebTube. In this video, 1. We are going to see about the Civil War of 1642 up to 1649. ዋኤ ወራና ወልወሊኒ የእርስ በርስ ጦርነት ከ1642 እስከ 1649 የነበረውን በዚህ ቪዲዮ እንዳሰሳለን። The execution of Charles First አደቢ ዱአ ቻርልስ ተከፋ ይላል። የቻርልስ የሞት ቅጣት እናያለን። ኦሊቨር ክሮምዌል and the Commonwealth. The restoration of 1660. The glorious revolution of 1688. warraaqsa boonsaa bara 1988 gaaffii as keessatti hojjennu keessatti ilaalla jechuudha. በ1688 የነበረው አኩሪውን አመጽ በዚህ ቪዲዮ ውስጥ በመንሰራው ጥያቄ እናያለን። The rise of constitutional monarchies. ጉድነ ደንቢ ሆገንሳ ቪዲዮ ከነ keessatti ilaalla. የህገ መንግስቱ መንሰራራት. Bill of Rights. The 1689 limits the royal power. Qophii wixinee seeraa abbaa irrummaa daangessu ቪዲዮ ከነ keessatti gaaffii ka'uun waliin ilaalla. The other is the foundation of parliamentary democracy. Bu'uura dimokiraasii parliamentary asumaan ilaallaa jechuudha. Akkam jirtu barattoota? Nagaa keessanii. Nageenyi koo jaalalaa fi kabajaa lafa san jirtan hundumatti isin qaqqabu jecha. Egaa ቪዲዮ ከነ qabadhee isiniif dhiyaadheera. Ana waliin turuun gaaffilee 15 ቪዲዮ ከነ keessatti ka'an irraa waa akka barattan abdiin qaba. እንደምናችሁ ተማሪዎች ሰላም ናችሁ? በዚህ ቪዲዮ ዛሬ 15 ጥያቄዎችን በማንሳት ከኔ ጋራ ቆይታችሁ እንድታጠኑ ጋብዛችኋለሁኝ። ይህ ቪዲዮ የእንግላንድን የፍራንስንና የራሽያን ህዝባዊ እንቅስቃሴዎች እናያለን። The instruction says that choose the correct answer from the given alternatives. Question number 1. The English Civil War was primarily a conflict held between waraanni waliin English kan inni gaggeeffame eenyu gidduutti? በእንግላንድ የተደረገው የእርስ በርስ ጦርነት የተካሄደው በማንና በማን መካከል ነው? A. The monarchy and the Catholic Church. B. The monarchy and the parliament. C. The nobility and the peasantry. D. England and France. Excellent. The English Civil War held during the 1642 up to 1651 was between the monarchy of Charles I, who believed in divine rights and absolute monarchy, and the parliament, which wanted to limit the king's power and ensure the political representation. The war was ended with the execution of Charles I and the rise of Oliver Cromwell, who is commonly known with a Commonwealth. ወራን ወልወሊኒ England keessatti bara 1642 hanga bara 1651tti waggaa 9dhaaf gaggeeffame. Charles tokkoffaa isa aangoon rabbi irraa uumamaan kenname jedhee amanuu kuffisuudhaan fedhii ummataa fi gaaffii ummataa deebisuudhaaf ummataan kan bakka bu'ee Oliver Cromwell Commonwealth mata duree jedhamuun kan beekamuun bakka bu'ameera jechuudha. The correct answer is B. The English Civil War was primarily a conflict held between the monarchy and parliament. Question number 2. What was the main outcome of the glorious revolution in England? warraaqsa boonsaa England keessatti ta'een bu'aan argame maal? England ውስጥ በተደረገው በአኩሪው ህዝባዊ አመጽ የተገኘው ውጤት የቱ ነው? A. The restoration of absolute monarchy. B. The execution of the monarchy. C. The establishment of a constitutional monarchy. D. England's conquest of Ireland. Very good. The glorious revolution in England results for the establishment of a constitutional monarchy. The glorious revolution of the 1689 saw the William and Mary take the throne after James I's fleet. Parliament limited royal powers and established the constitutional monarchy, which is confirmed by the English Bill of Rights in 1689. As a result, C is the correct answer. Wuxineen seeraa aangoo abbaa irrummaa daangessu Bill of Rights kan jedhu bara 1689tti Ingilaandiidhaaf yeroo itti qophaa'edha jechuudha. Kunis bu'aa warraaqsa boonsaa uummata Ingilaandiiti. Question number 3. Which of the following was not a major cause of the French Revolution? warraaqsa Frenchidhaaf sababa bu'uuraa kan hin taane kami? ለፍራንስ ህዝባዊ አመጽ መሰረታዊ ምክንያት ያለው ነው የቱ ነው? A. Social inequality. B. Enlightenment ideas. C. Excessive taxation on the three states, including the nobility, clergy, and commoners that includes peasants. D. The alliance between the French and the Russian monarchies. On exam of your class, list the three main causes of French Revolution. If you may ask it in this manner, what can you list down? Brattot. Sababota bu'uura warraaqsa uummata Faransaadhaaf sadii barreessii otoo jedhamtanii maal barreessitu? ተማሪዎች ለፍራንስ ህዝባዊ አመጽ ምክንያት የሚሆኑ 3 ጻፉ ብትባሉ ከዚህ ጥያቄ ጋር ተያይዞ ክፍል ውስጥ እንዲህ አይነት ጥያቄ ቢቀርብላችሁ ፈተና ላይ መዘርዘር የምትችሉት እነማንን ነው? Excellent. The social inequality, the Enlightenment ideas, and the excessive taxation on third estates are the major cause of French Revolution. But there was no alliance between French and the Russian monarchies, and no role in causing the revolution. As a result, D is not the major cause of the French Revolution. Question number 4. What event is considered the symbol start of the French Revolution? A. The tennis court oath. B. The storming of the Bastille. C. The reign of terror. D. The execution of Louis XVI. Excellent. On July 14, 1789, revolutionaries stormed the Bastille prison, symbolizing the people's uprising against tyranny and the monarchy. Manni hidhaa Bastille bara 1789 Juulaay 14 gubachuun isaa warraaqsi French atattamaan akka ka'uudhaaf sababa ta'eera jechuudha. So, the reign of terror is the major issue. The tennis court oath says A. This is not the answer because it was the important but earlier one. It declared the National Assembly, not the armed revolt. The reign of terror, this came later during 1793 up to 1794, but the revolution was held during 1789, so it is not the answer. The execution of Louis XVI, this was occurred during 1793, years after the revolution began. Question number 5. Who was the leader of the reign of terror during the French Revolution? A. Louis XVI. B. Napoleon Bonaparte. C. Maximilien Robespierre. D. Jean-Paul Marat. Excellent. Robespierre was community or public leader. So he was the leader of the reign of terror during the French Revolution. Robespierre, leader of Committee of the Public Safety, conducted the reign of terror during 1793 up to 1794. Why? To purge enemies of the revolution. C is the correct answer. Louis XVI was the monarch who was executed, not leader of revolution. Napoleon Bonaparte is not the answer because he rose to power later 1799. Jean-Paul Marat was a radical journalist, not the main leader. Question number 6. Which document influenced by Enlightenment ideas was adopted during the French Revolution? A. The Magna Carta. B. The English Bill of Rights. C. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of Citizen. D. The Communist Manifesto. Students, what will be your answer? The document influenced by the Enlightenment ideas adopted during the French Revolution was the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. C is the correct answer. This document was adopted in 1789. It stated that liberty, equality, and fraternity for all citizens. Inspired by Locke, Rasho, and Montesquieu. But Magna Carta is not the answer because it is from England, especially during 1215. The English Bill of Rights, this is also England's document, well known during 1689. The Communist Manifesto, this is written in 1848, much later of the Declaration of the Right of Man and the Citizen. Question number 7. What was the main goal of the Congress of Vienna after Napoleonic Wars? ወራር ናፖሊዮንን ቦደ ካዮን ወልገይ ቬና ማልቱሬ ከናፖሊዮን ጦርነት በኋላ የቬና ስብሰባ ዋና ዓላማ ምን ነበረ? A. To promote nationalism. B. To establish a balance of power in Europe. C. To spread revolutionary ideas. D. To create unified Germany. Establishing a balance of power in Europe was the main agenda of Congress of Vienna after the Napoleonic War. So, B is the correct answer. Vienna Congress held in 1815. The Congress sought to restore stability and prevent future wars by maintaining a balance of powers between nations. A is not the answer because promoting nationalism was discouraged. Why? Because monarchies were restored. Spreading revolutionary ideas, this was the opposite one. It aimed to suppress them. Creating unified Germany was happened later, especially in 1871. So it is not the answer. Question number 8. What was the name of the social class in pre-revolutionary Russia that was made up of wealthy landowners? Gareen Russia keessatti abbootii qabiyyee lafaa irraa ijaarame maal jedhama? ከመሬት ባለባቶች ስብስብ የተሰራው ከህዝባዊ አመጽ በፊት የነበረው የራሽያ ቡድን ምን ይባላል? A. The Bolshevik. B. The proletariat. C. The bourgeois. D. The nobility. Very good. Nobility was the name of the social class in pre-revolutionary Russia that was made up of the wealthy landlords. So, D is the correct answer. Boyars or nobilities owned large estates and dominate Russian society before 1970. But the Bolsheviks are the revolutionary party, not a class. Proletariats are working class, not landowners. And also, bourgeoises are a middle class merchants, mainly in Western Europe, not in Russian landowners. Question number 9. Which of the following was a major cause of Russian Revolution? A. Russia's alliance with Germany. B. The strength of Tsarist regime. C. The widespread poverty and the social inequality. D. The success of Russia-Japan's war. Most Russians were poor peasants under a harsh condition. This was a major cause of the Russian Revolution. As a result, the widespread poverty and the social inequality was the major cause of the Russian Revolution. C is the correct answer. The others are not the correct. Why? Because Russia's alliance with Germany, this fought against Germany in First World War. The strength of the Tsarists, not strength. This was the weakness caused revolution. Okay, the success of Russia-Japan war, it says, it was a defeat of 1905, which worsened the discontent. Question number 10. Which event is often considered the beginning of the Russian Revolution of 1905? A. Bloody Sunday. B. The October Manifesto. C. The February Revolution. D. The October Revolution. Bloody event is often considered as the beginning of the Russia's revolution of the 1905. In January 1905, the peaceful protesters were shot by Tsarist troops in St. Petersburg. This was triggering mass unrest. The October Manifesto came after the Bloody Sunday as a reform attempt. The February Revolution of 1970 event. It was not 1905. The October Revolution, also the 1970s, latter phase led by the Bolsheviks, not the 1905. Question number 11. Who was the last Tsar of Russia? A. Alexander II. B. Nicholas II. C. Alexander III. D. Peter the Great. Nicholas II was the last Tsar of Russia. B is the answer. Tsar Nicholas II ruled starting from 1894 until his abdication in 1917. He was marking the end of the Romanov dynasty. Alexander II was the earlier Tsar who was the reformer and freed serfs. Alexander III was the father of Nicholas II, ruled before him, and also Peter the Great ruled in 17th up to 18th centuries. Number 12. What political party led by the Vladimir Lenin played a key role in the Russian Revolution of 1917? A. The Mensheviks. B. The Bolsheviks. C. The Social Revolutionaries. D. The Constitutional Democrats. Bolshevik party was a political party that led by the Vladimir Lenin and played a key role in the Russian Revolution of 1917. B is the correct answer, which was less radical. The Social Revolutionaries, this focused on peasants, not on the industrial workers. The Constitutional Democrats, moderate liberals, not the revolutionaries. Question number 13. What was the main slogan of Bolsheviks during the Russian Revolution? A. Liberty, equality, fraternity. B. Peace, land, and bread. C. God save the Tsar. D. No taxation without representation. Excellent. Peace, land, and bread was the main slogan of Bolsheviks during the Russian Revolution. As a result, B is the correct answer. The slogan promised peace and end of war, land for peasants, as well as bread for starving workers. This summarizing Bolshevik goals. Liberty, equality, and fraternity was French's revolution slogan, not Russia. God save the Tsar. This was monarchist slogan. While no taxation without representation was American Revolution slogan, not Russian slogan. Question number 14. Which treaty marked Russia's exit from World War I? A. Treaty of Versailles. B. Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. C. Treaty of Trianon. D. Treaty of Paris. Treaty of Brest-Litovsk was a treaty that marked Russia's exit from World War. So, B is the correct answer. This treaty was signed in 1918 between the Lenin's government and Germany, and the treaty ended Russia's involvement in First World War. Treaty of Versailles. This was used as the end of First World War between Allies and Germany, not Russia. While Treaty of Trianon concerned about Hungary. And also, Treaty of Paris refers to different historical period, example, the 1783 and the 1856. Question number 15. What was the eventual outcome of the Russian Revolution? A. The constitutional monarchy. B. A capitalist democracy. C. The establishment of the Soviet Union. D. The return of the Tsar. ቡአን ወራ አክሰ ራሽያ ማል የራሽያ ህዝባዊ አመጽ ውጤት የሆነው የቱ ነው? The establishment of the Soviet Union was the eventual outcome of the Russian Revolution. So, C is the correct answer. After the Bolshevik victory in the Civil War, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic (USSR) was formed in 1922. A constitutional monarchy was a Britain, not the post-revolutionary Russia. A capitalist democracy, this was the opposite of Soviet socialism. And The return of the Tsar. The monarchy ended permanently and never turned back. So the correct answer is, as I've said, C. I hope you have got some benefits from this video. Video biratin anga walitti dhufnutti nagaan tura. በሌላ ቪዲዮ እስከምንገናኝ ድረስ ቸር ሰንብቱልኝ። ወቢቲዩብን ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ እና ኮመንት ማድረግ አትዘናጉ። ቻናሊን keenya akka guddatuudhaaf ወቢቲዩብ ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ fi ኮመንት gochuu hin dagatinaa. Yeroo gaarii isiniif haa ta'u. Barattoota, iddoowwan gaaffiin kun ba'an irra deebi'uudhaan dubbistanii wantoota adda baafachuu qabdan akka adda baafattan asmaan isiniif eera. Sababni isaas iddoowwan qormaanni ኢንትራንሲ baha jedhamanii itti amanaman waan ta'aniidhaaf ተማሪዎች እነዚህ ጥያቄዎች የወጡባቸውን አካባቢዎች በደንብ ሪቫይዝ በማድረግ እንድትዘጋጁ ከወዲሁ እመክራችኋለሁ። ምክንያቱም ኢንትራንስ ፈተና የሚወጣባቸው አካባቢዎች ከመሆናቸው የተነሳ ነው። በሌላ ቪዲዮ እስከምንገናኝ ድረስ መልካም ጊዜ ይሁንላችሁ። አንገ ቪዲዮ ብራቲ ወለገሩቲ ነጋና ቱራ ጉዲና ቻናሊ ከናዳፍ ጉማቻ ጎተን ሁንዱማፉ ገለቶማ ለዚህ ቻናል እድገት ስላደረጋችሁ ተሳትፎ እናመሰግናለን። ወቢቲዩብን ተምሳስንሳ ነማ ሄዱ ብራ ከገውፍ ሼር፣ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ ጎቹ እንደገቲና ወቢቲዩብ ቻናሊ ሚልካይና ኤግሬድ አሎታፍ